Kuntree Black here again, back from suspension. This is probably inappropriate to start with the peace greeting too. Again, it's not because I'm out here just angry with you, but because this message is going to be hostile to the interests of those who are against men understanding women, especially against Black men understanding Western women of any kind. As for me, I refuse to accept this notion that it's okay for women to be mysterious and then have an issue with a man not understanding something about them. Now, let's first look at double standards. We got a few of them already, and we need some to counteract theirs. For the most part, these Western niches and many other non-Western women believe that when a man hits a woman, it's far worse. And I would probably agree if we're talking about who hits who first. However, in societies where men are neither encouraged to take abuse from women nor abuse women themselves, women don't just feel at liberty to hit men either. Where I live, women do shady and dodgy things to make money off of men, but they do not just hit men because they want to. They don't touch men to whom they aren't related, in most cases, neither peacefully nor violently. There isn't this double standard that says that if a woman hits you, you take it and don't defend yourself. Now, the best thing is to get witnesses and then to go to a police officer and get that money out of her. Have her in prison until your injuries heal. That's how injuries are often handled here if there was intent. Anyway, after Shacarri Richardson got violent with Christian Coleman, there were people who said that so what? She shouldn't have gone to jail. No. I didn't mispronounce her last name either. You heard what the cuss word I said, ninja. To make matters worse, Shacarri showed a particular problem that many Western women have and Western Black women do have worse than any other Western women. They're terrible listeners, and this makes them impossible communicators. Many good women among our race have this problem too. So imagine the evil hyenas that want the social approval of other hyena monkey bitches and have to mistreat you to get it. You can see this in two cases recently, and we're so desensitized to it that we didn't even notice it when we saw it. But I did, because I teach language for a living. And I have often learned that the reason why nothing works to improve a sister's mindset is because that takes language to do, and they simply don't listen well or at all. The officers told Shacarri that Coleman didn't call them. A TSA employee did. She continued to call Coleman a coward and then tell him to get her out of it like it was in his hands to begin with. It never was. She hit him on camera. In a crowded international airport, like she was within the law, she expected no one to side with him against her stank, ratchet, stereotypical ghetto ass. The cops couldn't get her to understand hardly anything. No matter what they told her, she didn't understand it. You can also see the same behavior in a video that AC shared with us. Shout out to him. Accountable Commentary showed us a video in which officers told a single mom that they had a custody order for her child to go to the father, and she wouldn't listen to them at all. One officer tried to advise her, and he had to ask her hysterical ass if she heard anything he said to her. I'm a happily married husband, and I have to ask my wife at times if she heard me at all, and for good reason. So I know when you guys deal with those Western sisters with their evil intentions, they not only don't listen, they defy you. If they listen, they only listen to defy you. They barely hear anything you tell them, and the more reasonable your answer is, the less they hear you. I deal with my wife being distracted, nothing malicious, because she and I both focus on one thing at a time. You deal with them just not listening, because they expect no man or system to stand against what they want, especially in your interest. Both of them were shocked that Massa Charlie acted in the interest of the law they violated at the expense of Black men, and therefore to the convenience of the Black men in opposition to them in the context of the law. Brethren, you have to remember that they are terrible listeners, both unintentionally and intentionally. And this is in arguments with you and in trouble with the law. They get hysterical, and you can't tell them anything you can barely give them good news. Even if you messed around and agreed with them, they might never realize that. Do you want to know a red flag? Here's one. If you agree with her about a topic and she says no, then expresses the same thing you just expressed, that's a red flag. She's oppositional, and you should end all discussions of marriage right there. I don't tell you guys to date or sleep with women to whom you ain't married. But I will tell you to not stick your genitals or go on dates with women who don't even realize when you agree what the hell are they trying to inform you of when you agree, unless it's new information. See what the hell is going on here? Then, to top this off, they are out here saying that if they hit you, so what? If you even hold their hands, you're violating somehow. It was that way for a while, so they had their run with that paradigm, and look how it worked out for them. It didn't. Now, here's a double standard we need about deadbeat parents. Since dads have to provide money, which gets up and runs away from whomever seeks it, no matter how much they need it, and is therefore almost never anyone's fault for not having it, then it's pretty obviously an undeserved punishment to call a working man a deadbeat for not having it. All it does is tell men that they owe even what they can't get, while no one ever owes them anything at all. And even if they earn it, no one owes it to them unless they can force the debtor to pay what they owe. Hell, this makes it wrong to call working dads bead beats. Now, men who abandon their kids are obviously deadbeats, but we also know that men who don't abandon their kids will be blamed as if they did. So now how do we know when a dad is really a deadbeat or not? This leaves very few men to be called deadbeats fairly and justly. However, here is something that moms can far more easily give to their sons and often don't. Honest information. At this point, every son that grows up confused about women and the games they play is either indicative of new games that women of that generation invented just to maintain the confusion, which is always a possibility, or a deadbeat mom that didn't give him the information he needed to avoid the confusion. Money gets up and runs away because it's money. Everyone has an interest in keeping it than they have in paying it out. And yet in that environment, men are still judged by how much they don't have. And whatever amount every man can get his hands on is considered not even real money. No amount is real money to an economy, and especially to the women in it, until most men can't get it. Well, information, the truth, isn't that difficult to obtain until there's a conspiracy to hide it with lies. This is why I tell you that women in both traditional and Western environments are involved in a conspiracy of silence and secrecy. And the Western niches are even involved in a conspiracy of outright lies on top of that. Now, we have been desensitized to this secrecy and silence for almost the history of humanity, but the rage young and old men alike feel is from the newer and more extreme levels of outright deception, coupled with the blame placed on us for not understanding the same women about whom we were intentionally deceived. The deception was active and intentional, and yet they have the nerve to blame men in the most deceptive environments, the environments in which teen movies teach boys that romantic love is what women want most, that responsible men with consciences are whom women want, and that the best men get their day with the best wives and moms to their children later on. Well, since the moms themselves know about this deception, what do you call one who remains silent in the midst of this deception while her son is deceived and the truth costs her nothing financially to tell him? If a dad who works and just can't pay the court-ordered child support is a deadbeat dad, then what is a mom who knows the truth about women and lets television and little girls in her son's class succeed in lying to him about what they actually want and whose kids will actually be delivered to the next generation? How is that cuss word not more of a deadbeat for neglecting that when it's not expensive to tell him? Now, some of you heard me say this just now and had an epiphany. you realize that it does cost them financially later on to tell their sons this, because it dries up the 403 retirement plan, the ex-thought Social Security, the dual mating strategies, financial impunity. Yes, it does. But honestly, do you think that a son whose mom at least tried to explain it in her best vocabulary will abandon that mom in her old age? Also, do you think that a husband would consider his wife a 403 for being a 403 with him in the privacy of their home and not the same with other men? Would such a man leave his wife? Hell no. Not for that. Maybe for something else, maybe not, but husbands don't leave wives for being highly sexual in the context of their marriage. The way for the truth to not cost these women is for them to make the truth about themselves a better pill instead of a bitter pill to swallow. Even if the truth about them in general is that they're deceptive, the only reason for a mom or wife to fear losing financially is if the truth leaks out
about
her instead of
from
her. Simply put, the ones who don't snitch on the lying, deceptive masses of them are the deadbeats among them. A saying that some of us will need to have with female relatives who knew this about the game and intentionally didn't inform the deceived is, "Bitch, you should have snitched. Your silence enabled violence." The next time you hear a broad call a man a deadbeat dad and you got doubts, ask her what she has told her child about how she herself chose that man to shoot the club up and then deliver his baby to term alive. If she didn't, she's a deadbeat. How did he manipulate her? How could he manipulate her if he's a bum? How can a bum manipulate the same women that a responsible but less entertaining man can't rizz up even with his substance and accomplishments? Let her explain that to the kids before she says a man is a deadbeat if he's really just irresponsible to begin with. That son needs to know that the life he builds for himself might very well be the reason he is more likely to be cheated on than before, and that the sense of responsibility he has will attract not the women who seek to stay, but the women who seek to leave and take with them. He needs to know that the more of a provider he is, the more likely he is to lose in the divorce, and that he is an attractive man to marry, just to divorce later so she can use what he pays to pay her sneaky link, just to hit that. He needs to know that these women are out here giving their best deals to the guys who offer the least of what they say they want. The mom that won't say it is a deadbeat mom, and the sister that won't tell him is a deadbeat sister, and the grandmom that won't tell him is a deadbeat grandmom. It only costs them financially down the road later if they're the secret they're keeping from their male kin. And the fact that so many men are just now learning tells us that more of you in the audience are related to women who were the secrets than those who revealed them and snitched like they're supposed to. This, even if there was no other reason, like false accusations and lawsuits, should be enough by itself for males to not make approaches in the West. And when your mom asks why you won't date, ask her what secrets about women you need to know first. Ask her what it is about you that they are overlooking when you see them pursuing the guys they really want. And if you can be as good a person in general and still be one of those guys, I hope this helps, as always. Thanks for flying with us here on Jet Black Air, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.